Close the door.
He looked at me, leaned in toward me, and asked if my parents were home.
Oh my God.
Growing up in a Christian household, I was always told not to lie, and so I told him no and that they were out.
God. What's going on, y'all? Hope everybody's doing good. Thank you so much for tuning back into Scorpio TV. This time, I got Mr. Haunted. 3 true creepy neighbor horror stories uploaded September 19th, 2021, which is actually the day that this was uploaded. So it says it's only been out for about 3 hours. You know, I saw it in my notifications, and I thought back. I'm like, damn, it's been a long time since we had Mr. Haunted on the channel, and since we had some scary stories, some true scary stories on the channel. So I definitely had to check it out. I don't have much to say. Mr. Haunted is one of my, favorite scary storytelling creators. I don't know. He's severely underrated. He's nowhere near where he needs to be. I'm sorry I keep saying I just woke up from like a late ass nap, and I don't know, I haven't fully woke up yet, but like I said, y'all already know all the important links will be down in the description. So without further ado, let's get into it. He got a new intro? All that. Oh hell no. I like the intro though. Creepy as fuck. You gotta change it up every now and then. I'm currently still working on my intro and outro, so work with me.
I'm a female who currently lives in the downtown area of a genuinely safe city.
Generally.
Because of the global pandemic, I've gotten laid off at my job and have been inside since, working on my online business. While the area was safe, the apartments around here were very small and crammed, almost like the size of a prison cell.
Oh my.
It's only large enough to fit a bed, a TV, and maybe a desk if you were lucky. Due to the lack of space in my apartment, I have to go outside and exercise for my mental health. One night, I had just finished dinner and put on my shoes to go for a midnight jog to burn off the extra calories. I go outside and start jogging when, out of nowhere, a man I had never seen before stops me dead in my tracks. He was a younger looking guy, maybe about late 20s, and wearing a hoodie and some shorts. Right away, he introduced himself as Bill and that he had just moved into my building a few doors down. I told him that it was nice to meet him and hoped he enjoyed his move-in. However, he didn't seem to acknowledge or care about my welcoming and just stood there asking what I was doing.
What?
Trying to be nice, I briefly told him that I was jogging around the block.
Goofy.
He then asks me if he could join me, to which I then politely decline and tell him I do better without a partner.
Exactly. What the fuck are you talking about?
Before allowing him to say anything else, I tell him I have to go and that I'll see him later. Now, I'm normally nice and enjoy talking to people, but something about him seemed off. Long story short, I finish my jog and go back inside of my building with thankfully no sign of Bill. I head to my room and go inside, and right when I was about to close the door, someone's arm blocks it.
Dude, come on, man.
Startled, I open the door to see Bill standing there with an unsettling grin across his face. I awkwardly laugh and try to be polite as I could, asking him if he needed anything.
No, bro, get the fuck away from me.
He then asks me if he could come in so that we could get to, quote, know each other a little more.
What is he talking about?
As weird as it was, I hesitantly told him yes, but only for a bit as I had work in the morning. He walked inside and I told him to have a seat and if there was anything I could get him. He disregards what I said and immediately asks me if I had a boyfriend, to which I then told him yes. Right as I said this, his so-called smile then turned into a frown of disappointment. Feeling a bit creeped out, I tell him I have to go to bed and that I'll see him tomorrow. He then gets up violently and pushes in the kitchen chair and slams the door, giving me the finger. I, of course, lock it and tell my boyfriend everything that happened via FaceTime.
You deserve whatever happens to you.
About 2 weeks later, I'm laying in my bed about to fall asleep when I hear a heavy knock at the door. I open it and was greeted to the woman who works at the front desk, and she then asks if I know Bill. I told her yes and explained my little encounter with him. What she told me next will forever stay in the back of my mind. Apparently, he had been living in my building for well over a year now after his girlfriend had left him. He has a major addiction to heroin and had been arrested multiple times for rape and battery against multiple women.
Wow.
He was thankfully arrested again, and I became instantly shocked by the news. Till this day, I still wonder if I would have been his next victim had I allowed him to jog with me that one night.
Damn near. Or allowed him to stay in your apartment for longer than he should have. He shouldn't have been in your apartment in the first place. You was bullshitting. You didn't deserve to be raped, but whatever else he did to you, you deserved that shit because you was stupid as fuck.
This took place when I was around 11, when my family and I had just moved into an old house in upstate New York. It was at least 80 years old.
Damn!
I was an only child, and I got the second biggest room in the house, and that room was huge. Sometimes my parents left me at home by myself for a few hours.
Right.
Whether they were going shopping, going to work, I'd always ask to stay home. They were the kinds of people who spent long hours going shopping, looking for the best deals. That being said, I didn't want to be involved in any of it. Being raised properly, I didn't cause any trouble, which is why they trusted me to stay home alone at such a young age.
Right.
I didn't mind staying home alone because I like to think of myself as mature and responsible.
You would think.
One night, my parents had left me home alone to tend to the house as they were going on one of their double dates with friends. 11-year-old me immediately hops onto Minecraft while letting my childlike creativity run wild. It's around 8 p.m. and I pause my game to go into the kitchen to grab a snack when I hear a knock at the door. Figuring it was probably my parents forgetting something, I open the door and see a man standing by my stoop.
Bro.
At first glance, he looked to be in his late 20s and had tattoos all over his arms.
Close the door. Close the door.
He looked at me, leaned in toward me, and asked if my parents were home.
Oh my god.
Growing up in a Christian household, I was always told not to lie, and so I told him no and that they were out.
God.
A slight smirk appeared across his face, and he then asked if he could come inside. I told him no, and that if he needed to talk to my parents, that he could come back later. However, he insisted that he come in, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. I tell him that he's not welcome here, and that if he didn't leave, I would call the cops.
Oh my god.
He then turned around and walked off, disappearing into the night.
Close the door and lock it.
It seemed he had given up.
Shit. Yeah, alright.
I might have been 11, but I wasn't stupid and was known to be pretty intimidating when it came to stuff like this.
At 11?
Needless to say, I go back to playing my game, trying to enjoy the rest of my night. Then, around 2 hours later, I hear a heavy knock at the front door. Standing on the other side of my door was two police officers. I open it and they immediately ask my name and if anyone had come to my house earlier. I instantly remembered about the guy persuading me to let him in. My description of the man matched the same as theirs, and I proceeded to call my parents. One of the officers spoke with them and that they were on their way. The very last thing I remember about that night was my parents coming home early and putting me to bed without any explanation. Fast forward about 4 years with us living in a different state, and I kind of forgot about the situation when I brought it up to my mom over dinner. Her eyes were open wide and was stiff as a board when I mentioned it. Now that I was older, she thought that it was the right time to tell me something that I didn't know. Right after she had put me to bed, her and my dad got talked to by the police. The guy who had come to our house turned out to be one of the sons from a neighbor who lived a few houses down. Apparently, after he left our house, he went down the street and broke into a house where there was a 16-year-old girl home alone taking a shower. She didn't know he had broken in, and he had come up the stairs and broke down the door to the bathroom where he then raped her. The only reason he was caught was because someone walking their dog had heard her screams and called the police. Even though I didn't know the girl, I still felt sympathy for her and thought that this was partially my fault. We never saw that man again, and we hope we never do.
Police catch up to him, they just need to go ahead and just give him the death penalty, because that's exactly what he deserves.
This happened to me when I was 17 years old at the time, and is by far the most horrifying thing that I've ever encountered. It was the summer of 2017, which meant that school had been out for a good 3 months. Even though most people thought of summer as the perfect annual vacation, my parents still made me find a summer job. As much as I didn't like their rule, I had to stick with it. I was living in a very small and secluded area at the time, so there weren't many openings around my town. The small band of jobs that were still hiring either denied my application or claimed that they weren't hiring anymore. Eventually, I ended up getting a job with my neighbor who had been living in my neighborhood for a few years now. Her name was Samantha, and she had been a resident in the area for well over 10 years. She was tall and wide and had long brown hair and wore pale makeup. She seemed nice, if anything a bit odd, but agreed to hire me to work around the house. It wasn't the best job, but she was willing to pay me substantially more money per hour than a regular job.
Right.
Probably because I was younger. All I had to do was go over to the house and clean up anything that was laying around. While it may have seemed easy enough, she had made a few rules that seemed a little odd to me. I didn't mind the majority of them, but one of the rules in particular was not to go down in the basement for any reason. What made it even more strange was that her basement door even had a sign on it and made it obvious she didn't want anybody down there.
There's a reason for that.
I wasn't the type of person to go into other people's business, but it was very sketchy to say the least. Samantha had left for work and told me that I could leave whenever I was done with everything. There really wasn't much around her house for me to clean, so I just started wiping down furniture to act like I was doing something productive.
You're gonna go in the basement, ain't you?
As I'm organizing a few things in her office, I walked past the basement door and took a good look at it and knew I had to do it.
Oh my God.
I didn't know what lay beyond that door, But curiosity got the best of me, and I decided that I wasn't leaving until I knew for sure.
What?
I ever so casually opened the door into the basement and was met with a blast of extremely cold air and sudden darkness. I felt around for the light switch, but wasn't able to. So I take out my phone and use my flashlight to light my way down the stairs.
Alright, bro.
When I reached the bottom of the basement, I shined my light around the room and noticed what appeared to be chains on the floor and several drawings on the wall.
It's confirmed. Everybody in this
Other
video
than the chains
is
lying on the
bullshit.
floor, there really wasn't much in the basement other than the water heater and a few boxes.
Everybody bullshitting.
I then came to the conclusion that there wasn't anything in here, and I turn around to walk back up the stairs when I hear something fall over on the other side of the basement.
Hell no. Dude, you're
Not hesitating, I turn on my flashlight and walk over to where I heard the noise. When I saw what it was, I really didn't know what to think. There were at least hundreds of small Legos scattered all over the concrete floor.
What?
But before I was able to leave, I heard the sound of a small child in the pitch black basement.
I don't like that.
In the heat of the moment, I didn't know what I was feeling inside of me.
Run. The fuck?
I guess you could say I was too scared to even feel anything.
Goofy.
I ran out of that basement and up the stairs and out of that house, not bothering to close the basement door.
Oh shit.
I walked all the way back to my house while trying to process as to what the hell just happened. When I got home, I took a nap and my phone was off. When I woke up, I turned it on and to my shock, I received 20 plus text messages along with 6 voicemails that she had sent me over the past 2 hours.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They were all just insane texts that ranged anywhere from, "Did you go into the basement?" to, "I told you to stay the hell away from there." Thankfully, she didn't know which house I lived in, so I didn't bother responding.
My man.
I still don't know if what I heard in the basement was just all in my head or something completely paranormal. Either way, I sure as hell won't be going back to that house to find out.
You never go in the basement. What? If a motherfucker tell you don't go in the basement, you don't ask questions, you don't second guess, you don't go in the basement. Simple as that. Everybody was bullshitting. All 3 stories, the main character was bullshitting. Your religion almost got you fucked up in the second story because you can't lie, so you told him you was home alone. What? And you opened the door because you just assumed it was your parents? First story, creepy ass neighbor. You allowed him to come into your house? Like, what? The third story, she told you not to go into the basement, had a sign posted, "Do not go into the basement." You went anyway, and you saw some shit and heard some shit you wasn't supposed to see and hear. And you almost probably ended up like whoever or whatever's down there in her basement. Man, I know that I've put that on like the thumbnail of like a couple of my videos in the past when I just say like everybody bullshitting. But in those same videos, it was just like this. Literally every single clip or every single story, somebody was bullshitting. Like, I don't understand how you could bullshit this fucking much and think it's okay. Like I said, the first story, the girl, she didn't deserve to be raped. No woman ever deserves to be raped. But whatever else that motherfucker would have did to her, she deserved that shit. You let him into your house. You tried to close your fucking door, and he put his arm in the way so it would stay open, and you still allowed him to come into your house, even though it wasn't for that long. Like, that could have went south so fucking fast. Like, come on. Y'all out there watching this video. Y'all have to agree everybody was bullshitting. In fact, I want y'all to put that in the comment section. Hashtag everybody bullshitting. Just like that. Because they were. See, this is what I missed about, you know, Mr. Haunted's videos, bro. He good ass storyteller. He has that ambiance. He has those sound effects. Like in that last story, he had the little child laughing sound effect in there. Made it a whole lot creepier. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I have to apologize to Mr. Haunted. We haven't been up on his videos recently. Shit, I haven't even been up on scary stories recently. I've mainly been doing, like, you know, more vlogs, scary videos, and some creepypastas. I haven't really hit like the true scary stories in like a minute. And if I have, it was only like maybe one video or so. So yeah, we definitely gotta start implementing more scary stories, because I forgot that these are extremely entertaining, and motherfuckers really be bullshitting like all three of these. Dope video. Shout out to Mr. Haunted. You guys definitely go over there and check him out. You know, he's got good content. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you guys drop a like, a comment, share the video. Make sure you have that bell icon tapped so you will get notified every time I drop new content, which I do at least twice a week, sometimes 3. That's all I got for y'all. So until the next one, stay safe, stay blessed, stay humble. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.